Hey there. Today we're going to take a look at dividing and simplifying polynomial expressions by factoring and canceling. Let's go. Okay, so today's problem asks us to divide and simplify. And when I am looking at polynomial expressions as fractions, and especially when I notice that they're quadratics, I know that I'm going to factor them and then hope that I can cancel away some of the factors. But the first thing I'm going to do is deal with this division symbol. I know that division can be turned into multiplication if I flip this fraction. The little jingle goes, don't ask why, just flip, then multiply. So there, I've gotten rid of the first part. Now, my next step is I am going to factor all four of these quadratic equations. Okay, I am going to start with this one on the bottom because it has no coefficient of x, so that's going to go really fast. I'm going to use my x method. If you're not familiar with this, check out this video. Otherwise, here we go. What goes up top here is a times c, or 1 times negative 15. What goes down below here is my b. The question I'm asking myself is what multiplies to the top and adds to the bottom. I'm going to make a quick factor list of my top. I see that 3 and 5 are 2 away from each other, so I'm going to pop them in here. And now I'm going to ask myself about the signs of them. So to end up adding to positive 2, my larger needs to be positive, which means my 3 is negative to make that multiplication. Negative times a positive turn out to be a negative. Now, because I have no coefficient of my x, I'm done. Those are the two things that go in my parentheses. So now for x squared plus 2x minus 15, I'm going to substitute minus 3x plus 5, and they were taken straight from here. Okay, I'm going to rinse and repeat over here with this one that also has no coefficient. Up top goes A times C. Down below goes B. Factor list. Well, that was easy. This is positive. This is positive. These both have to be positive. Add to 6. Multiply to 5. I pop them right in there. Okay, on to my numerators. I start the same way with my x method. Up top, A times C. Down below, B. Quick factor list. Again, that was easy. This is positive. This is positive. These both are positive. Now, here's where our methods differ. These are not the end game here because these are not going to just be x because I have a 2x squared. So now I write out the terms of my FOIL. Firsts are going to wind up being my 2x squared. By the way, if FOIL doesn't make any sense to you, go check out this video, come back. Now, these are the coefficients of my inside and my outside, and it doesn't matter which one's which. So my next two terms are plus 1x and plus 2x, and then my lasts are going to multiply to be that plus 1. Okay, I finish up with a little bit of factoring by grouping. Again, if that's not familiar, go take a look at this, but otherwise, and now I'm pulling the greatest common factor out of each binomial that I've just created. So the greatest common factor here is just an x. And the greatest common factor here, well, there isn't one, so we'll just call that a 1. It's a good idea to write that one so this next step makes most sense. Now I have a common factor between these two terms of what's inside my parentheses. So my final step is I pull that out, and that is the factorization of my numerator here. So I'm going to sub that in. And now I'm going to repeat it for this guy. Everybody hanging in there? Here we go. Up top goes, that's right, A times C, or 6 down below goes, that's right, our B, negative 7. Factor list, 1 and 6 are going to get me my 7. This guy's negative, this guy's positive. These have to both be negative to multiply to a positive and add to a negative. All right, those are my middle terms. So here I go writing out my FOIL, right? My first, my inside, outside, and my last. And now I'm going to group. And now I'm going to factor out my greatest common factor. Take a look over here. Whenever I have a coefficient with a leading negative, I'm going to make sure that what I pull out is negative. So I factored a -3 out of both terms, leaving me with a 2x and a -1. That makes things match up. Now I'm going to pull those out. And lo and behold, I have factored that numerator, so I'm going to substitute that in. All right, now my original problem has all been factored. Multiplication means I multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom. So I'm just going to extend my line there. And now I can cancel top to bottom, right? That's just division. So I see an x minus 3 and an x minus 3. I see an x plus 1 and an x plus 1. And now I can finish simplifying. On the top, I have 2x plus 1, 2x minus 1. That should sound really familiar. We're going to come back to that in a second. On the bottom, I have an x plus 5 and an x plus 5. So I'm going to call that x plus 5 squared. Now, on the top, what's so familiar here? My first terms are the same. My last terms are the same. And the only thing that's different is the sign between them. That is difference of squares. If that isn't familiar, go check out this video. Otherwise, we can jump straight to 4x squared minus 1. Okay, go run that video again, pause it. You'd work things out ahead of me, then check and make sure you're right. Check out my factoring playlist, which includes all of this plus more and more practice problems. Leave in the comments any problems that you're struggling with that you'd like to see a video explanation of. Consider subscribing to my channel so you know when I put out a new video. And as always, keep on mathing.